I quite like the circuit. I quite like the racing over here, but well, I like the Saturday better than the Sunday this time. My name is Rishi Kapoor. Kunal Shah is actually waiting to make a point about the Austrian A1 GP, the Red Bull Ring, and the race that happened. I found it not so happening since I'm a great fan of the circuit. I expected something better, but Kunal, was it up to your expectations?
See, I know you're a Red Bull fan, and I know we partnered with Red Bull. So that's why you are not happy with the fact that at the Red Bull ring, Red Bull's only finished 10th and 11th. Okay. And it was so called the Mercedes ring. Okay. But I loved it. I loved Saturday as well. It was a case of who doesn't want pole position.
What was that? I mean, one driver makes a mistake, still has provisional pole. The other driver who can take pole pushes so hard that he gives pole away. I mean, what is happening?
But now we know why nobody wanted the pole position.
Yeah, because the pole position guy doesn't win here.
Yeah.
Massa was on pole last time, Nico won.
Exactly.
This time Hamilton was on pole, Nico won. So this is just funny,
Maybe they knew pre-race that listen, P2 is where the victory is going to come from, and it was a case of what we say in India, pehle aap, you go first.
It must have been a vastu around P2, the great spot. But great qualifying session. Kunal likes to call it out of a Steven Spielberg movie. It was quite like the movie Speed.
Yes, the set of the movie, of course, was some circuit called the Ostrich. I can't get the name right.
Ostrich. Like, what was that whole Austrian name, the German pronunciation?
I don't know. If somebody knows, they should come
Grand
out
Prix,
Grand Presser, the Ostrich. I mean, just call it the Austrian Grand Prix. Please, will you? We have enough confusion in Formula One, enough complexity.
Yeah.
At least have the race names clear enough.
I know, just call the race MGUK or whatever. Okay, so as for McLaren, I mean, very, very bad. Another dark day for them. I mean, and somebody's really put this very well, that they could have actually started in front of the Mercedes cars, considering they had so many 25 and 50 grid penalties, so they could have actually taken a round of the whole circuit.
Yeah, they would have probably made use of the short lap and started ahead of pole position. But, well, I mean, I don't know, any darker for McLaren, and I don't know what shade of black will they go into.
And if you suddenly see the drivers are starting to make statements and they are feeling negative and they're irritated, and if you're not fast, at least be reliable, and even that's not happening.
Yes, and I can tell you, Rishi, the powertrain regulations have been written keeping Alonso in mind. Knowing, how we all know that when the going gets tough, Alonso is the man to deliver.
He doesn't drive, he flies. He did that yesterday. He flew over Kimi Raikkonen.
Absolutely, he did.
I'm so glad both the drivers were okay, because that looked a little bad.
That was scary.
I mean, the engines don't work on a McLaren, and the cameras also don't.
I'm glad you brought it up, because at the end of the day, we could only see Raikkonen's onboard footage. I would have loved to see Fernando Alonso's view.
Yeah.
But, like you said, maybe nothing works on the McLaren, not even the onboard camera. We should give Martin Brundle the credit for this as well.
But actually, if you look at Kimi's replay, it really looks like something touched him from the backside, but apparently it's not.
He claims it was wheel spin. Possible, maybe a damp patch or something he hit, and it's Kimi. You never know. He always hits something these days.
Wow. But Kunal, because you're the technical guy, and when I saw him come out of the corner, I saw him cleanly get out of the corner, come on the power, and suddenly he just lost, traction in the fifth gear.
Yeah, that was the wheel spin. So when you suddenly see him opposite locking while driving straight, he was pointing left. That was a wheel spin that got to him in his moment. I still can't understand how by him spinning, he actually collected Alonso the way he did. I mean, that's a little surprising. I want the onboard footage. We should start a campaign, Rishi.
Campaign. Alright, I'm going to come back to the Grand Prix. Nico Rosberg, you really got the better of Lewis Hamilton, and very well. He really has upped his game. And Austria seems to be like his lucky number,
Yeah, no, it also seems like Lewis doesn't like the circuit too much. He didn't top any session. He was surprised he was at pole as well. In the race, he didn't seem like he was... he was quick enough to get Nico.
Locks all four tires all the time.
Yeah, I think it was a great race, and I think you and I should introduce a new terminology to the sport called the pole vault. When the driver starting in P2 has such a rocket flying start that he just zooms past P1, and that's what Nico Rosberg did.
And he actually, reminded me of Abu Dhabi last year when Lewis actually just flew past him.
Yes, my God, you're the Wikipedia on the Inside Line F1 podcast. But Rishi, what is surprising to me is when you look at the statistics for the year, Rosberg has only one win less than Hamilton.
It feels like Hamilton has been winning for a decade now.
Yeah, it seems like Rosberg just can't match up to Hamilton.
Correct.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, but think of it. 3 wins to 4.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I mean, Spain was a clear victory. Austria happened because he was really good, and the fact that Monaco, well, the team made an error, but he still has 3 wins, and he's
Yes.
only 6 points away, if I'm not wrong.
10 points away.
10 points
Yeah.
away. There
And you
go.
know what? He's come out and said that he's now found something he was trying to find in 2014.
Is it?
Yeah, maybe he's found the fact that he was the first driver to debut on the Inside Line F1 podcast. We'll put a link to that. Hear him out, guys. 2 years ago, Indian Grand Prix.
Hamilton's clutch issues, they pitted him a lap later actually in the race, and everybody's tried questioning it because there's no undercut then. But what people don't realize is because they were heating issues in tires and they couldn't get it up to grips very quickly, maybe they were guarding him against Nico,
Yeah, possible. I mean, to me, much to ponder over, especially the clutch issue and the fact that he's spoken about the strategy about him coming in a lap later. They could have probably been more closer, but in my view, he needs to focus on why he probably got off the pit lane exit, because that to me was a bit of a rookie error. But you know what, Rishi? Just shows how close it actually is between them, and that when Hamilton is challenged, he is error prone in some way, because you saw Rosberg at the entry. He was all 4 wheels, and I had a feeling, oh my god, he's either going to go to the wall
or he's going to speed in the pit lane.
And he had all 4 wheels locked in on entry, and Hamilton did this at the exit. So a lot of tough competition between the drivers.
I'm glad that's happening, because otherwise Formula 1 is not in my mind very entertaining these days, and people are making a lot of gung-ho noise about it. But this has been a great year for Mercedes. It's been a year of pole positions and in a few Grand Prix time, like Kunal says, he has a very keen observation that I like him to say.
They'll probably run out of team personnel to send up onto the podium to collect the trophies.
They'll start calling their wives and probably their kids and some buaji from somewhere.
They'll just tell the driver, listen, just collect both the trophies and we're tired of going all the way up there. But on the point, Rishi, we actually had a few driver errors for a change. So the pit lane exit.
Yes.
And we heard Marcus Ericsson jump starting a race. I don't know when last time there was a jump start. Maybe you'll know. You're the Wikipedia.
Okay, I do know there was an Alonso error last year at Silverstone where he wasn't in his grid position properly.
Wow.
So that I remember.
Hats off to you.
Yes, that was there. But Jumpstart, I have faint memories of truly doing it.
Yeah, I remember back in the days of Hakkinen and Schumacher and even Coulthard, our good friend, if you remember. There were a lot of guys you could end up jump starting.
Yes, true that.
Maybe this is where one of our listeners, Mithila Mehta, pointed out that maybe just back in the days, people were far more eager to start races than they are now.
True that. Absolutely. Hey, I'm so happy for Massa. He's on the podium and it's so good to see him up there.
Yeah, the old man, right?
Yeah, the old man.
Yeah, I think it was also good to see Gerhard Berger out there.
The grandfather. Well, his stomach enters the room before he does. I mean...
He's a former Formula 1 driver. Mind your words. I can tell you he drove in the F1 Legends, before that. I don't know how he would have fitted in the car, but let's give it to him.
But, I thought he was... I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I didn't enjoy the podium interview so much. I thought he had nothing to ask. We have a lot of questions and we'll mail it across to you, Gerhard.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm sorry. Copyrighted questions, we better be pulled up there to ask. We've been doing like now 130 odd episodes and we're probably good at it.
Yeah,
so
if Arnold Schwarzenegger can do it, we definitely.
Yeah, you mean Austrians should do podium interviews going forward then, right? Make a mockery out of themselves.
Absolutely. All right.
I'll be back.
Okay. Wheel nuts are driving Ferrari nuts. This is the second time or third time, I believe, where they've lost time in the pits. Australia again. I thought Kimi had this issue. I think some other race Vettel had this issue, and it's just they're trying to reduce the number of threads.
Yes.
And not finding the right thread, like they're not
just
finding
goes
the right
cross.
chord. Yeah.
But one person who could have been cross on the podium could have been Lewis Hamilton. Imagine what would have happened if Gerhard Berger would have called Lewis Nico.
The other way around. Oh, that wouldn't have gone well.
Or so we guess.
Ooh. All right.
What's your lol moment, Rishi? What's your lol moment?
My lol moment is Maldonado almost got on the backside of some Toro Rossos and Red Bulls and saved it, and I don't know how he did it, but when he doesn't crash, I don't feel normal at all.
Yeah, I mean, nothing seems to go right in Formula One, Not even Maldonado's crashes. I mean, he's managing to save those.
The practice makes a man perfect. Mithila correctly pointed out, and who better than Pasta, because he's like had, well,
Maximum practice sessions, right?
When
Like,
it
doesn't
comes
matter
to
whether you
crashing.
test on the circuit or no, but I will test the barriers.
Whereas your front wing or mine, I will get it. All right, Raikkonen and Alonso, I'm feeling a little bad because I'm a big Raikkonen fan, but how he's been performing has not been up to the mark. Also, he robbed us of some great duels. Okay, had he not crashed into Alonso and we not had a safety car, Nico versus Lewis was looking kick-ass.
Absolutely. I really think that would have been a brilliant battle for us to see.
Also, he robbed us of his own charge coming through the field from 14th or wherever he started to.
Yeah, and maybe he's robbed himself of a Ferrari contract for 2016.
There we go, my big
But it was
man
a strange
speaks.
looking crash. And it was always funny to see one Formula One car over the other.
And
And I don't know what happened there. I mean, I think the only thing right about the crash was that the drivers walked out scot free.
And the other good thing about the crash was it made us realize that a safety car is imperative in every race, because what it does is there's no lift and coast happening because you end up saving fuel automatically.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you brought that up. Please bring in a safety car or please reduce the number of
Number of
laps.
laps. And this is something one has to realize, and Kunal and I have always been shouting about it, that Formula One is not about conservation, about energy. It's about flat out racing. We want cars to come close to each other and climb on each other, not in the way that Alonso climbed on Raikkonen, but
You wanted McLaren to be on top, Rishi. Come on. Top of the timesheets, top of a Ferrari as well.
so but Kunal, there's a good point over here that I'm going to make. If I am Kevin Magnussen, would I be glad that I'm not driving that car?
Absolutely. In fact, I won't even fight for a seat in 2016 and say, please let the old drivers drive, which is Alonso and Button. And maybe Button could take, voluntary retirement at the end of the season. I anyways think Alonso's career is being destroyed here because you have the likes of Hulkenberg who are suddenly showing up saying, hey, guess what? Between Canada and Austria, I went and won the Le Mans. Nothing great.
That's quite a statement to make. Mobile One, you should reconsider naming your product as.
Mobile 21.
Why?
Because it seems like McLaren's best starting position, right? I mean, they always I don't know. But the even more funny part, Rishi, is that despite such a dismal performance, McLaren will still get a few tens of millions of dollars more than a couple of midfield teams put together. Something which is very, very unfair.
And they say that the crisis is over and we've come up with the most positive statements. But somewhere I can see the drivers getting frustrated because, well, you're Honda and you know how to make engines. And I'm not gonna give any concession here to the drivability of the car. The aerodynamics don't look that great either.
We won't know, but yeah, I mean, and I'll repeat a tweet that I read on Twitter. Honda, the power of farts.
Well, Honda says they cannot supply to a second team. But the engines, I don't think, will be so much in demand considering they can't even power a pressure cooker.
You know what, Rishi? I wouldn't even put it in our studio to fan us. It'll probably die on us on the 3rd minute of our 15-minute long podcast.
15? Wow.
Fine, 17.
Okay then. So Red Bull Racing, I'm going to come back to 10th is the best they could do. Well, Danny Kvyat had some issues. Otherwise, I think he's been robbing pace out of Daniel Ricciardo. I personally feel he's giving Ricciardo a tough time, whether we see it on the charts or not. But when you're in such dismal situation and Ferrari turns around and says, "Hey, hello, we have engines to give you," and you say, "No, thank you so much." I mean, that's just PR, right?
That's PR, and maybe that is where this whole customer cars in Formula One situation lies. I mean, McLaren denied themselves to have Mercedes customer engines. Red Bull is now saying no to Ferrari, despite being partners with them not too long ago. Which means that between this, somewhere teams do know that if you are a customer of a bigger Formula One team who's also competing, you may not get the best package at all times. And, Red Bull has categorically said that, great, thank you, but, if we take a customer engine, we know it's going to be difficult, even more difficult to win races and championships.
Oh, so you basically become a Williams.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Very glad you said that.
But Honda suggested something which, well, I was foreseeing that this would come to. Ross Brawn being, now the savior of F1. He's been around. He's been an engineer. He's won so many championships.
8 times world champion. Can you imagine?
That is just brilliant. That is fantastic. But should he be writing the rules of F1 just like Christian Horner has been saying?
Well, I have immense respect for Ross Brawn.
I love him.
Okay. I want to know what the garden that he's now gardening has done. I'm sure it is going to win a few awards in any case. Maximum yield for per hectare or something that he'll get. But jokes aside, even if Ross Brawn is involved in writing the rules or not, I genuinely think they need somebody from a marketing point of view, somebody who's won marketing innovation awards to have changed such a dinosaur of a sport and make it relevant to the 21st century.
Okay, but having said that, Christian Horner has also said that Honda and Renault should be allowed to catch up. Now, see, I understand where he's coming from, because when Red Bull was doing well and they had the double diffuser, nobody turned around and said, you can't make the double diffuser now. You have to stick to whatever you made in the beginning of the year. And that's not fair. But still, what I think is it's not going to be fair for Mercedes because, well, they put their brains and made the engine right in the first place.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because the business of the sport and the engagement of the sport, the viewers need equal engines to come. They can't have so much disparity. But from a sporting point of view, it is just stupid. It's like, telling Usain Bolt, hey, you know what, you consume a few lesser calories before your 100-meter run because we need Tyson Gay and Justin Gatlin to be closer to you, if not be able to beat you. That's not too fair. I mean, let's not go down that route, in my view.
A big round of applause for Sarah Force and F1. Both the drivers really doing well. Nico Hulkenberg, you beauty. First the Le Mans win, and he actually bought the press conference. He bought the trophy to the press conference.
I loved that act. Imagine you're sitting with Vettel and I think there was Lewis, etc. Lewis, by the way, said, I don't watch Le Mans. I don't care about Le Mans. Fair enough. Let him say that for now. Imagine you come walk in and you put the big 24 hours of Le Mans trophy for the world to see. I think it was a kick-ass move by Nico Hulkenberg. I mean, taking the motorsport world by storm.
And beating a Williams, which was just too good.
Very, very crucial. Because if there are driver movements to happen, and I just say this out of personal expectations, I would expect a Bottas or a Hulkenberg or maybe a Ricciardo to be in the line of fire. Okay. For Nico Hulkenberg to have beaten Bottas in Austria, big one. Massive, massive one. So if Mercedes is looking to replace Rosberg, which I believe they should, and I get a lot of flack for it every time I say it.
Including me, yes. I hate you.
Yeah. But look at it from Lewis Hamilton's point of view. He will still have a Nico to beat.
Yes, I believe the seat at Ferrari is getting extremely available now after Raikkonen's day in and day out harakiri moves that he does, which is just dismal. I don't like to see what he does, and I'm a big fan. But I believe.
Do you think he should be replaced?
My heart says no, but my mind says yes.
Good. For a change, we agree.
Yes. John Eric Vaughan is over there. And let's not forget.
Even more so.
He is brilliantly talented. He was just neck and neck with Ricciardo back in the day.
Yes.
So I don't see any reason why he won't excel.
It'll be good karma for him if he does that, wouldn't it?
It'll be great. And it'll be great to see Vettel being challenged by another young guy.
Yeah. Although I really feel somewhere, there is a Hulkenberg who deserves it as well.
Absolutely.
Maybe for that we'll make space in the Mercedes.
Button can always.
No. You can't send him to a car which doesn't perform. Poor lad, he's always had similar issues, right?
We don't know where Formula 1 is heading. We don't know where the points are heading. Who's going to be winning the next race, Nico or Lewis? But we do know one thing. Whatever happens in Formula 1, it'll be on our blog, on the Inside Line F1 podcast, and it'll be discussed in detail.
20 minutes of detail.